It's Tuesday, 6 p.m., February 3rd, Ordinance Committee meeting. I will call to order. Clerk Everett?
Councilman Huckabee. Here. Councilman Johnson.
Here.
President Jekyll.
Here. All right. Item 3 is public comment. Being we have nobody in attendance, I guess we will forego that. Moving on to item 4, new business. 4A is review and possible action or recommendation to the city council relating to amendments to various sections of zoning ordinance, chapter 15 of the City of Fort Atkinson Code of General Ordinances relating to the approval, review and approval of signs. Director Drager.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I have proposed amendments here for you pertaining to signs. Just to be clear, this is for the majority of signs, majority of new signs, except for electronic message boards and signs in the downtown historic district. The downtown historic district would still fall under special area design, as does any improvements in the downtown. And then electronic message boards would be proposed to remain plan commission approval since it has the potential larger effects to drivers and to nearby residential properties. So it'd be better for a little bit more input on those designs. But as far as that goes, all other signs are thoroughly vetted through the staff review process and for the most part come to plan commission in full compliance beforehand. It ends up being a little bit of an extra approval that may not be necessary. And this would be this proposal would be a way to streamline that process and make things a little bit easier for businesses to get a new sign paid for without a few extra weeks of review time in preparation for that. In your packet, you saw the proposed amendments there. For the most part, they are just some changing of the language from Plan Commission to administrative staff review or staff review with once again some figures in there where you see different sign approvals with also language changed in there. But with that, it's pretty straightforward. It still accomplishes what the ordinance is intended to do with sign review. Just removes a step for those proposed signs and the owners of those signs. And I would welcome any questions that you may have on the proposal.
Approval of a sign is simple as a small window sign that says lights up and says open. You need the approval from your office.
For the most part, no. Those signs don't generally, they fall under the sign ordinance, but those small individual open and closed signs don't generally have approval or a permit needed. The signs that we're proposing here would be large business signs, monument signs, or on building signs. Those traditional business signs that you see that really tell you what is in the building.
And I think just to add on that, they're subject, those types of open signs are subject to the sign ordinance, meaning there's portions of the sign ordinance that prohibit signs from blinking, flashing, scrolling, those types of things. So if somebody were to get an open sign and turn it on to the setting that blinks or flashes, and then somebody complains or we happen to see it, we would make contact with that business owner and just let them know that they can't blink or flash.
That would make sense. You wouldn't want to distract drivers. You just want them to be able to tell if you're open or not.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, with the proposed amendments here, there's no additional regulation. It's just a reduction of the review process or a reduction of who's reviewing those.
I just have a comment. I think this makes a lot of sense in streamlining this, having watched and been at the Plan Commission meetings. It does seem like an extra step not needed. So I'm glad it's being revised.
I will say that the city of Jefferson is going through a similar change right now for the same thing.
How much quicker would this potentially expedite process for sign approvals?
Right now, depending on where that sign is there, what type of sign, but for the most part, sign review falls underneath our 6-week process for review and then setting for a plan commission date. Usually we get it done quicker than that. We try to do much faster than that, but this would change that to probably on average a week.
Okay. I think that's really great because I had a few people actually reach out in the last year.
Mhm.
This is what kind of or asked me to bring something like this forward. Was there like, we'd like to get the sign as a simple sign, we think. We'd like to see it expedite along a little quicker and
Yep.
once they came to plan commission, they seemed like they were, yep, boom, boom, done, so.
Yeah, and in fairness, there are some signs where it could be a little less cut and dry approval, and there is a portion of this here where it would allow the zoning administrator to require or to request that it goes to the plan commission.
Okay.
So that process or that step can be put in place if staff feels that it could be a topic of discussion, let's say.
Okay.
I move to approve the proposed zoning text amendment as outlined in the attached summary, dated January 27th, 2026, to pass along to the city council.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to the next item, which is review and possible recommendation to the city council relating to an ordinance to repeal and recreate Article 3 of Chapter 86 of the City of Fort Atkinson Code of General Ordinances relating to recycling. Director Navin.
Good evening. The purpose of this memo is to request the ordinance committee's recommendation to repeal and recreate the city's recycling ordinance. This update is necessary to align city code with new Wisconsin DNR administrative rules that went into effect on July 1st of 2025. The city's existing recycling ordinance was originally adopted in 1994 to comply with state solid waste recovery laws. However, in May of 24, the governor approved new administrative rules to update effective recycling program criteria and to be recognized by the DNR as having an effective recycling program. Under state statute, the city is mandated to adopt these updated rules. Maintaining the status is not optional if the city wishes to remain eligible for state recycling grants. The proposed recreation of Article 3 includes several technical and administrative updates required by the DNR, update definitions, updates to acceptable materials, enhanced education, multifamily and non-residential standards, collection standards, enforcement and penalties, all things just to move the state forward. Adopting this ordinance ensures the city continues to receive state recycling grant funding, which helps offset the cost of our local recycling program. Failure to update the ordinance would jeopardize these funds and potentially put the city out of compliance with state law. The staff recommends that the ordinance committee recommend the draft ordinance to repeal and recreate Chapter 86, Article 3 to the city council. This action ensures that our local laws remain current with state standards and protects our eligibility for essential grant funding. And with that, I'll take any questions.
I just wanted to understand better the update on the penalties. So were they previously $50 in that range? I was reading it and I was a little confused.
The penalties to residents,
Yes,
I don't have that one touched.
it was
What
down.
page is that on? Or what part of what's the section of the ordinance?
Let me look. Let's see, enforcement. Let's see. I find it here.
It's on page 8, under enforcement. Let's see,
Of the draft.
of the draft city ordinance. So if we look back at the current recycling ordinance, which is also in the packet, trying to just skim through that and see if there were penalties in that section, or it looks like penalties for violating the article will be as prescribed in section 1-10. So that's kind of the catch-all. And I can look that up real quick and just see what that says. -10. So penalties when none expressed, if a person is convicted of an act or omission prohibited by this code and for which no penalty is expressed, the person shall be subject to a forfeiture not to exceed $1,000 plus the cost of prosecution.
Okay, so this would increase it by up to 1,000 or to a $2,000, this change.
For a third or subsequent violation.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's look at yeah, it's $50 for a first violation, 200 for a second, and not more than 2,000 for a third or subsequent.
In the original.
That is in the draft. That's what we're proposing to repeal and
Right,
recreate.
and what I'm
So
wondering is what are we changing it from?
from $1,000 per violation because there was no dollar
Tiered.
amount in the recycling
Okay.
ordinance.
See, this is why I was confused.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. So it just that ordinance just referenced 1-10 of the code.
Okay,
But we likely wouldn't, I mean, Chief Bump is here. He can probably tell us how many recycling ordinance violation tickets that they've issued, which that would be my guess. So it's not a common
Okay.
thing that we do.
I think it had to be pretty egregious or continuously brought to us by our provider that there's been continued concerns.
Okay,
Yeah, and then I did send this to John's disposal for review. I sent it to the DNR for review. I haven't heard back from the DNR, but anything they give us, we'll incorporate into this before it goes to council.
okay.
Um,
Thank you. That clears it up for me.
Any further questions? So I'd be entertaining a motion.
I move to approve the ordinance changes to move on to the city council as, let me see. Draft ordinance read. Okay.
Second.
I think I need to say it better.
I think you're
It's
okay.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're okay. It's just, it's repeal and recreate Article 3 of Chapter 86 of the Fort Atkinson Code relating to recycling.
Perfect.
So,
Second.
got it.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And moving on to the third item tonight is the review and possible recommendation to the city council relating to sections 94-151 through 95-160 of the City of Fort Atkinson Municipal Code relating to ATVs and UTVs. Manager Hausman.
Thank you. So this ordinance has a sunset in it. That sunset is 2 years after the date of adoption, and it was adopted, or I should say 2 years after the effective date, and the effective date was April 8th, 2024. So in advance of April 8th of 2026, I wanted to get the council's thoughts on how they wanted to proceed. Staff is, per the memo, recommending that the section 95.6160, which is actually misnumbered, so I apologize for that. It took me reviewing this after for this purpose to see, hey, wait a minute, that should be section 94.160. But anyway, so it is recorded and it's codified within our municipal code on our website as 95.160. Anyway, that section indicates that the police chief will report to the city council every 6 months for a staff report relating to incidents and accidents and calls stemming from ATVs, UTVs. We would like to eliminate that altogether. Currently, the police department does not report out to the council on violations specific to any, specific ordinance. So we would, if the council would like to continue to have this ordinance, we would just request that we not have to report out. If there is something that starts to be a problem or a pattern, we'll certainly look at ways to address that. And if that needs to come to the council as like a recommended ordinance or something, we would bring that forward. And then the other piece to 95-160 is the sunset. So in some of my conversations with President Jekyll, I have just asked him to consider if that's something we want to eliminate from the ordinance, meaning that it would just, the ordinance would exist unless and until some time that a different city council wanted to repeal it, versus having this sunset that would require 2 years from now, coming back and looking at it again. So I also wanted to get feedback on the rest of the ordinance. If there are issues or things that the ordinance committee would like to see changed, now would be the time to do it before it would come back to the full council for review.
So I just need a little bit of history on, was the thought process of putting a sunset on it just to see what the ramifications would be?
I think that was, it represented a little bit of a compromise between the council at the time. You know, this wasn't a unanimous decision.
Okay.
Staff did recommend not approving this ordinance due to just the various reasons that you know, it did require a lot of additional training for our police department. And so we didn't recommend approval of the ordinance. And then I think that maybe that sunset was a little bit of a compromise between the folks
It
on the
kinda
council.
Gave everybody if, if this is taken badly, that this will end regardless. Or, you know, it does have to at least come back for review.
Okay.
So it's not just something that we were putting in at the time and just saying it's all hunky-dory and we're gonna go about our way. It's
So-
something gonna be heavily monitored.
So we're basically looking at approving the line by line to what we had, only we're gonna remove the reviewing of it.
The reviewing and the sunset clause,
Yeah.
potentially, yes. That's what's being recommended right now, unless there's other things within the ordinance that we would like to see addressed.
I know there's other things some UTV, ATV people would look for where they'd want to make it 16 rather than 18, but I'm not looking to change anything. I'm very satisfied with what we got is, in my opinion, been working. We haven't had enough trouble with it to get worried about.
Chief, have you seen any problems since the last review with the ordinance or?
We did the review in, was it
October
October?
was the last one.
So right now is like really the quiet time when most people with ATVs, UTVs have put them away for the season.
Yep.
So like, unless you're one of
The
the more
last few days I've
hardcore.
seen 3 UTVs.
Yeah.
I have too. I have.
So we really,
Decked out nice and warm, cozy.
yeah, we really, if you looked at our stats, the last year that I came with the information, there was like really nothing. And then during the nice season is when we have numbers to show.
Just one question I had with Mr. Johnson's comment with the 16. Have we had any issues with any 16-year-old riders that you know of, or?
We've had a couple, but not a lot. And a lot of it's just like not intentional, like parents didn't know and they allowed the kid to take it out or something. And so it wasn't a big deal, but we've had very few issues in that area.
Okay. Because that would be my only ask potentially to add is just to move that age down to 16 with a valid DL or driver's license. That's my only, to kind of come into a line with all the other municipalities surrounding.
Yeah. I don't like that idea, but then
I
mean,
understand. I
I just,
know your concerns were
Yeah.
highly addressed at the time with this
Yeah.
ordinance, so that's why
you
I'm.
just have inexperienced drivers and then you add the dynamic of that inexperienced driver driving a different type of vehicle that really does take a different skill set.
Yep,
And then that probationary status, when that's over, you would hope that they have a little bit more experience driving. Have matured and they're making better, safer decisions. So
Yep.
I think a lot of that goes with with my experience of being in law enforcement for 28 years. If you can eliminate some of those more dangerous things, especially for our younger kids, I definitely would want to do that to protect them a little bit.
definitely.
We see a lot of issues with even the electric bikes right now with the younger kids getting in accidents and some dangerous things. So it just really would worry me.
No, I definitely understand, take that to consideration, so.
And
Yes, sir.
I haven't heard anything from like any of the clubs or anything with complaints from parents where, you know, like, why can't my kid, you know, they can every place else. Not, I would be comfortable with, but this isn't about what I would be comfortable with. This is about what the city would be comfortable with.
Yep.
And I like it the way it is for that reason, that it seems to be working without any trouble, and we can make it a little more permanent this way.
Definitely happy with it, and I'm happy with, like I said, we haven't had any major problems, and this, by taking out that sunset clause, doesn't take this off the table from any future councils looking at this and readdressing in the future if we do foresee more problems develop.
Yep.
I really appreciate your willingness and professionalism to work forward with us on this. So.
There's only so many things I have control of, so I have to deal with it.
Any further thing? Otherwise, I'd look for a recommendation with the removal of that one item as
Well, it's
presented.
2 items, isn't it? Removal of sunset and removal of reviews.
We would just repeal that whole section 95-160. So that is the review and sunset provision.
I so moved to remove that section and pass this on to city council.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I believe that leaves us on to adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You're adjourned. Thank you.